Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be focusing on factorizing algebraic expressions. Before we go ahead, if you haven't done so before, please click the subscribe button and do not forget to like the video at the end. For now, get your books, get your pens, and let's get working. When factorizing quadratic expressions, it is usually written as, this is the standard form by the way, ax squared plus bx plus c. And a, b, and c are usually numbers in our expression, okay? So be aware of that. We now have established our standard form, so we're going to now work through an example. We have 3x squared minus 8x plus 4. The first thing we need to do is write our values for a, b, and c. So we have a, we know a is equal to 3, b is equal to negative 8, and we're going to put that negative 8 into brackets, okay, to avoid confusion, so you know it's a negative. And we have c is equal to 4, and that's a positive 4. What we now need to do is multiply a and c. This is done so we can find the two factors that can replace 8x, okay, because we need to find two brackets at the end of it. So we have a is equal to 3, c is equal to 4, so 3 times 4 is equal to 12, and that is a positive 12. Now with our positive 12, we now need to find two factors that would equal to that can substitute for our b value. When it's added or subtracted, it needs to be equal to a negative 8. And when multiplied, it needs to be equal to that AC value, which is a positive 12. So we write our following factor options, the following factors that can go into 12. So we have 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. We now need to assess our factors. We know that we need to have a negative 8. And we need to have a positive 12 when they are multiplied. Negative 8 when they're added or subtracted, and then positive 12 when they're multiplied. Looking at our expression, or factors, we know that 1 and 12 when added or subtracted cannot give us a negative 8 value. 3 and 4 when added or subtracted cannot give us a negative 8 value. But we know 2 and 6 can give us a negative 8. But we need to now know how are we going to play with our signs. Is it going to be two positives or two negatives? Because a positive and a positive 6 plus 2 would give us 8, but we need a negative 8. So we can put our negative and negative, because we know negative 2 minus negative 6 give us our 8 value, our negative 8. So let's write that down. We have negative 2 minus negative 6, and that gives us our negative 8. Correct. Now we need to know if that when multiplied would give us our positive 12. So we have negative 2 multiplied by negative 6, or negative and our negative multiply, which gives us a positive. And 2 times 6 gives us 6 to 12. Wonderful. So we've got our 2 stars. We can now go over back to our expression on our left and solve it. These two factors that we've just calculated, these are going to substitute for a value at b, which is minus 8x. So we have 3x squared. Our two factors, one is minus 6x and then minus 2x. Remember, we still need to replace it with our x, plus 4. We're going to now bracket these expressions, to simplify them further. So in our brackets, we need to find the common terms in them, the common expression or common factor in them. So we know 3x is both common in 3x squared and 6x. So we write 3x outside of our bracket. So 3x into 3x squared would give us 1x, because x squared, so it's going to be 1x remaining. And 3x minus 6x, that's divided. 3 is divided into 6, so that's a minus 2. Our negative comes from our 6. Next bracket, we have minus 2x plus 4. 2 is the common factor, in a matter of fact. But because our 2 is negative, we're going to put our negative outside of our brackets. So we have negative 2 into 2x would give us a x value. And then negative 2 into 4 would give us negative 2. As you can see, our 2 brackets are the same, hence we are correct. So we're going to write our 2 brackets as 1, so x minus 2, and then our second bracket would be the number outside, which is 3x minus 2, and that is how you solve your question. Another method by which we can find our signs is by using a table. So you can memorize these values and you would be absolutely fine. So you won't really need to think and trial and error in order to get your sign values. So if we have our b value as a positive and our c value as a positive, then our factors, both of them need to be a positive. And if we have our b value as a positive and our c value as a negative, then our factors, the bigger number would have to be positive and the smaller number would have to be a negative number. If we have a b value of a negative and a c value of negative, then our factors, the larger factor would have to be a negative and the smaller factor would have to be a positive. Lastly, if our b value is negative and our c value is positive, then both of our factors would have to be a negative. If we go back to our previous question, we had our b value as negative and our c value as a positive. So b negative, c positive. So let's go over to our table. Remember, b negative and c positive. Yeah? B negative and C positive. That is our last row. And our answer, we had 2 negatives. Yeah, our 2 factors were both negative. So let's see what our table says. That both of our factors would have to be negative. So you see, we can use the table in order to know if our values need to be both negative. We will now briefly look at difference of squares. If we have x squared minus a to the power of 2, a being a number, then that is difference of square. So for example, if we have x squared minus 9, then this is a difference of square because 9 is a squared number, meaning a number multiplied by itself is equal to 9. And that number is, in this case, it's 3. So 3 multiplied by 3 gives us 9. So to get that number, we would have had to square root 9 and we would have gotten 3. So writing our answer, we would have x minus 3, and in another bracket we would have x plus 3. So that's how you would solve a difference of square. It's just x minus that number, the square root of 9, and then x plus that square root of 9 number. Another example, if we have x squared minus 36, then remember we need to find the square root of 36, and if we think about it, then we know that a number that is multiplied by itself that gives us 36 is 6. So x minus 6 and then x plus 6, and your question is solved. Just as simple as that. And that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you've learned how to both factorize quadratic expressions and difference of square. For now, thank you so much, and please don't forget to subscribe and like this video, and also feel free to leave a comment of any topics that you would like me to cover or probably expand on. But for now, thank you so much and see you next time. Bye bye.